Let's first start with, do you think that this is actually politically motivated? We see there's serious concern from the police. How concerned should we be?
Well, certainly it's not the first time that we had such killings in that place at KwaMashu. And we saw quite a number of lives lost, even last year, especially between the two rival parties, the NFP and the IFP. So certainly it is a political thing.
Talking about the NFP and the IFP, what factors would you say drive such political intolerance? I
would say, if you want me to go back to the violence of the 80s and the 90s, even the recent ones, most of these incidents are actually driven by leaders. And what is different from the recent killings, from those of the 80s, was that in the 80s it was mass killing. But in the last 3 years, we have seen a new pattern of killings in KwaZulu-Natal, which is specifically targeting certain leaders. It's either within a political party itself or between political parties. It's a very unique thing. It just doesn't kill randomly or killing the rank and file members of political parties, but it's very specific. It goes for certain leaders.
We're on the eve of elections. Are we likely to see this type of intolerance and political violence escalate?
Well, certainly KwaMashu has got a double blow because with the eve of the elections, general elections coming, there is also the by-election in that particular ward after the death of a councillor. I think it was last year. So there's a double hit there. So it's really the situation is very, very dire.
You say the situation in KwaZulu-Natal is dire. What can authorities do? What are police doing? What are the IEC officials going to do about the situation going ahead?
I don't think the IEC can do anything as such. Let them remain with their voter education. I think I was a bit disappointed with the comment by some of the SABC officials that is going to deploy more police. This is beyond the police force. What you need in KwaMashu, enough lives have been lost. You need the army. Get them in there to raid the hostels and get all the illegal weapons and dangerous weapons. Set up roadblocks and get all these dangerous weapons and arrest the perpetrators. It's beyond the scope of the police, I'm afraid.
And if such intervention is not taken, do you think we're likely to see a re-emergence of the violence and the tension that we experienced in 1994?
I think the heat is on already with the elections around the corner. There are certain hotspots already in KwaZulu-Natal, like the Midlands, the South Coast, and then the KwaMashu Hostel, the Dumlazi. So certainly they are there. And again, I want to say it's beyond the SABC to prevent this.
How much of responsibility would you say lies with leadership of political parties and warring and rival parties in that province? What should they be doing and telling their supporters?
Well, they will come in front of your cameras, all of them, and tell you how tolerant they are of their members of opposition. And then when they go away, they preach another gospel behind the scenes. And then we see more and more life being lost. So I think they have a role to play. But I think, again, they themselves alone, I don't think they can resolve it. They have got a contribution to make by preaching the gospel of tolerance, but also they need the state to come in with the military.
Let's just ask you quickly for a national picture, because as we said, we are going to elections very shortly, and we're likely to see aggressive campaigning from different political parties going into rival strongholds, marches and the like. What can we do to ensure that we temper that so that we don't see violence spilling over as a result?
Oh, certainly. I fully agree with you that there's going to be tempers all over the country, especially with the new kids on the block in the political scene in terms of the new political parties. So I think we're going still to see a lot of these such violent flashpoints throughout the country. But KwaZulu-Natal, as usual, is taking the lead.
Thank you very much for your time and your insight. That was Protas Madlala, a political analyst coming to us live from our Durban studios, saying that KwaZulu-Natal has now become a political hotspot and saying that urgent intervention is needed to curb the violence in that area.